Imagine standing on the deck of the most advanced cruise ship ever built, watching the horizon glow with the promise of a new world, while feeling the hull beneath your feet slowly buckle under the pressure of a freezing, invisible tide. We are living in a moment of history where the digital world is accelerating at a speed that defies human comprehension, while the physical world, the world of trade, energy, and appliances, is grinding to a violent halt. Is it possible for the stock market to reach record-breaking heights, while the fundamental pillars of our daily life crumble? Hello. This is WarmInsight. Today, we are going to talk about geopolitical tensions and the tech disruption, navigating a fractured global economy in 2026. Leaving a like and subscribing is a huge help to us. To understand why a company like Whirlpool is reporting a recession-level industry decline, while tech stocks soar, we have to look back at the twilight of the Roman Empire. During the 3rd century crisis, the Roman economy didn't collapse all at once because of one single event. It was a combination of localized shocks, the disruption of trade routes by constant warfare, and a sudden collapse in the silver content of their currency. The citizens in Rome still saw the grand monuments and felt the power of their state, but in the outskirts and the merchant hubs, the reality was one of stagnation and fear. Much like today, the grand monuments are our digital tech giants, but the outskirts are the consumer, discretionary industries that are currently being starved of oxygen. By the Iran war, the Iranian conflict is not just a regional dispute over territory or religion. It is the equivalent of a barbarian invasion at the gates of the global supply chain. When trade routes are threatened and energy prices become unpredictable, the entire psychological framework of the consumer shifts from expansion to survival. This is exactly what happened in the 17th century. During the 30 Years' War in Europe, while some bankers in Amsterdam became incredibly wealthy, the actual productive capacity of the continent was decimated for a generation because the movement of goods became too risky. We are seeing a 2026 version of this, where the ship of the global economy is being hit by a storm that makes the passengers lose their appetite for anything. But the most basic necessities, the psychological root of this phenomenon, is what psychologists call the availability heuristic, combined with a severe survivalist bias. When consumers are constantly bombarded with news of war and escalating conflict in the Middle East, their brains prioritize immediate safety over long-term planning. The human mind is evolved to handle short-term threats, like a predator in the bushes, but it struggles to maintain economic optimism. When the predator is a global war that could disrupt everything from the electricity in their homes to the food on their tables, this creates a collective freezing of the economy. It is not just that people can't afford a new dishwasher, it is that the very idea of making a long-term commitment to a physical asset feels dangerous. We are seeing a mass psychological withdrawal from the physical economy. This is a neurophilosophical defense mechanism where the brain attempts to minimize surface area of risk. By not buying that new appliance, the consumer feels they are maintaining a level of liquidity and flexibility that might be needed. If the war escalates further, it is a rational response to an irrational world. But when millions of people do it at once, it creates the very recession they are afraid of. To put this into a 5th grade analogy, imagine your entire school is preparing for a giant end-of-year party. Everyone is excited and the school is even buying a brand new super-fast pizza oven that can make 1,000 pizzas an hour. That pizza oven is AI. But at the same time, there is a massive snowstorm outside that has blocked all the roads. The delivery trucks with the flour, the cheese, and the pepperoni are all stuck 10 miles away. Even though you have this amazing new oven, you can't actually make any pizza. The students, seeing the snow piling up, start to get worried. They stop spending their lunch money on snacks because they think they might need that money for blankets or flashlights later. The snack shop, which represents companies like Whirlpool, starts to go broke because no one is buying cookies anymore. Even if the principal says the party is still on, the students are too scared of the storm to enjoy it. The high-speed oven is sitting there promising greatness, while the students are sitting in the dark, shivering and holding on to their coins. This brings us to the shocking divergence in the market. Where silver is outperforming gold mining stocks, this is a massive signal that the smart money is looking for a flight to safety that gold alone cannot provide, historically whenever a dominant empire faces the twin threats of war, and technological upheaval, silver has acted as the common man's insurance policy. Look at the period during the French Revolution. While the elites tried to maintain their wealth through land and titles, those who survived the hyperinflation and the chaos were the ones who held physical silver and gold. But why silver specifically right now? It's because silver represents a bridge between the old physical world and the new tech world. It is used in everything from solar panels to the advanced circuitry required for AI hardware. By choosing silver over gold miners, investors are signaling that they don't trust the institutions or the companies themselves. They don't want the risk of a mining company going bankrupt or being nationalized because of the war. They want the raw physical element. This is a return to a hard asset reality that we haven't seen in decades. It mirrors the era of the Great Depression, where people lost faith in the banking system and began hoarding physical coins under their floorboards. The outperformance of silver is the 2026 version of those floorboards. The psychological reason for this shift is a total erosion of institutional trust. When a market is operating normally, people trust the layers of the economy. They trust that a mining company will produce gold, that a bank will hold the gold, and that the stock market will value that company fairly. But in a fractured global economy, those layers look like points of failure. The human brain, when under extreme stress, seeks to eliminate middlemen. This is known as disintermediation. Investors are looking at the Iran war and the cybersecurity threats of AI, and they are thinking that any company, no matter how large, could be wiped out by a single hack or a single missile. Therefore, they move their capital into the most basic, unhackable, and indestructible form of wealth they can find. Silver is a dumb asset in a world that has become dangerously smart. It cannot be deleted by an AI, it cannot be turned off by a government, and it does not require a functioning power grid to exist. This is the ultimate expression of the fear side of the market's current personality. Think of it like this. Imagine you live in a city where the digital locks on every door have started to fail because a master hacker is playing a prank on everyone. At the same time, there's a massive storm coming that might knock out the electricity. Would you rather have a high-tech biometric safe that requires a thumbprint and a Wi-Fi connection to open, or would you rather have a heavy iron box with a physical key? Gold miners and tech stocks are the biometric safes. They are amazing when the world works, but they are useless if the power goes out or the system is hacked. Physical silver is the iron box. It's heavy, it's old-fashioned, and it's a bit of a pain to carry around. But it's the only thing you know for sure. You can open when the world goes sideways. The smart money is currently trading in their digital safes for iron boxes because they can see the hacker at the gates and the storm on the horizon. Now let's address the elephant in the room. The prediction that the S&P 500 will cross 8,000 by 2026. This is the greed side of our fractured economy. This optimism is built entirely on the back of the AI revolution, specifically models like Anthropic's mythos. To find a historical parallel for this level of technological mania, we have to look at the 1920s and the dawn of the radio and automobile age. Back then, people believed that poverty was being abolished and that the new era had arrived. They were so blinded by the incredible potential of these new inventions that they completely ignored the fact that the underlying debt structure of the world was a house of cards. The AI boom of 2026 is our roaring 20s. We are looking at a technology that can write code, diagnose diseases, and manage entire cities. And we are concluding that the stock market must go up forever. But history warns us that even the most revolutionary technology cannot save a market. If the consumers are too broke or too scared to participate in the economy, the S&P 8,000 narrative is a Teflon market belief, the idea that no matter how much bad news we get from the Iran war or the appliance industry, the AI engines will keep printing money. The psychology behind this is a mix of the lottery effect and recency bias, because we have seen tech stocks recover from every dip over the last 15 years. The human brain has been conditioned to believe that tech is a magic shield. This is a dangerous cognitive shortcut. We are currently ignoring the systemic risk because the potential reward is so shiny. It's a form of collective hypnosis where we focus on the 50% chance of a market boom and completely block out the structural rot that is being reported by companies like Whirlpool. It's a classic blow-off-top mentality. where the final stage of a bull market is driven by pure FOMO, or fear of missing out. People aren't buying the S&P 500 at 8,000 because they think it's a good value. They are buying it because they are terrified of being left behind. While everyone else gets rich from the AI gods, imagine you are at a carnival, and there is a giant, glowing machine that claims it can turn lead into gold. Everyone is crowding around it, throwing their life savings into the slot, and every few minutes, a gold coin pops out. The crowd goes wild. Everyone wants a turn. But while this is happening, the entire carnival ground is slowly sinking into a swamp. The tents are tilting, the Ferris wheel has stopped turning, and the food vendors have all run away because they haven't been paid. The people at the gold machine don't care. They are so fixated on the flashing lights and the promise of easy money that they don't even notice the mud rising around their ankles. The AI boom is that machine, and the fractured global economy is the sinking carnival. The 8,000 target is the next jackpot that keeps everyone from looking down at the swamp. This brings us to the cybersecurity hysteria, triggered by advanced models like Mythos. This is a risk that the herd is almost entirely ignoring. When we think about AI, we think about productivity. But the smart money is thinking about vulnerability. During the Cold War, the invention of the intercontinental ballistic missile didn't just make the world more advanced, it made it infinitely more dangerous, because the time to react to a threat dropped from days to minutes. AI-driven cyber threats have done the same thing to our financial infrastructure. We are now in a world where an AI could theoretically find and exploit a flaw in the global banking system before a human even knows the attack has started. This is why the Titans playbook emphasizes cybersecurity. ETFs like HACK and CIBR, they aren't just investments. They are the digital armor for an era of total information warfare. The legendary investor who profited from the 1987 crash is warning of negative returns because he understands that a single systemic glitch or attack could erase years of gains in a matter of seconds. Psychologically, we suffer from normalcy bias when it comes to technology. We assume that because the internet has worked for 30 years, it will always work. We can't imagine a world where our bank accounts are frozen or the stock exchange is offline for a week. But the contrarian view is that we are more fragile today than at any point in human history. The more we connect our lives to the AI grid, the more we create single points of failure. The neurophilosophical reality is that we have traded resilience for efficiency. We are like a marathon runner who has trained his heart to be incredibly efficient, but has neglected his immune system. A single virus, a single cyber attack could bring the entire system down because we no longer have the manual backups that used to keep the world running. Think of the global financial system as a giant, interconnected web made of the finest silk. It is beautiful, complex, and can catch a lot of value flies. But AI is like a new species of spider that can move 10 times faster than the spider that built the web. This new spider can also cut the silk strands, while the flies keep flying into the web, giving us that record-breaking S&P 8,000. The smart money spiders are noticing that some of the main support strands are being cut. They are starting to build smaller, thicker webs in the corners, webs made of cybersecurity and hard assets, because they know that if the main web collapses, everyone on it falls into the abyss. This leads us to the strategic necessity of the global shield. In a world where the Iran war is disrupting trade, and the Trump-Xi summit is being delayed, the idea of global diversification is changing. We have to look at the historical precedent of the British Empire's decline. As the world became more fractured in the early 20th century, investors who stayed exclusively in global funds were decimated. The winners were those who identified the specific regions that were self-sufficient and protected from the main theater of conflict. In 2026, the U.S. technology and healthcare sectors are that fortress. While international markets are directly exposed to the fallout of the Iran war and the chaos in Europe and Asia, the U.S. remains a relatively stable island of innovation. However, even this island is not safe if we don't apply the survival mechanics of dollar cost averaging. The psychology of DCA, or dollar cost averaging, is the ultimate antidote to the fear and greed cycle. It removes the human element of timing the market, which is where 90% of retail investors fail. Our brains are hardwired to buy when things are expensive and sell when they are cheap. It's a primal instinct. When we see a bounty, we want to join the feast. And when we see danger, we want to run. DCA forces us to stay at the table even when the food looks scarce, which is exactly when the best long-term wealth is built. It is a form of financial stoicism, accepting that you cannot control the storm of the Iran war or the volatility of AI, but you can control your own discipline. Imagine you are a farmer in a valley that has unpredictable weather. Some years there is a flood, some years there is a drought. If you only plant your seeds when the sun is shining and the birds are singing, you might miss the planting window entirely, or you might plant right before a surprise frost. The smart farmer plants a small amount of seeds every single week, regardless of the weather. Some weeks the seeds wash away, some weeks they wither. But over the course of the year, he is guaranteed to have a crop because he covered every possible scenario. That is what DCA does for your portfolio in a fractured economy. It ensures that you are buying the dips in the recession-level sectors and capturing the gains in the AI boom sectors, without having to guess which is which on any given day. We are entering a period of generational bargain, where the bifurcation of the market is creating extreme opportunities for those who can keep their heads while everyone else is losing theirs. The divergence between the whirlpool reality of the average consumer and the AI reality of the stock market cannot last forever. One of them has to give. Either the AI revolution creates so much wealth that it pulls the consumer out of their recession-level slump, or the geopolitical weight of the Iran war and the instability of our digital infrastructure drags the stock market back down to earth. The Titans playbook isn't about guessing which one will win. It's about being prepared for both. It's about having the 55% in stocks to catch the AI wave, the 35% in safe assets like silver and healthcare to survive the crash, and the 10% in cash to pounce on the opportunities that only appear in moments of maximum chaos. Historically, the people who become truly wealthy are not those who found the one secret stock, but those who survived the great resets. Whether it was the transition from the feudal system to mercantilism, or the transition from the gold standard to fiat currency, the winners were the ones who understood the survival mechanics of the new era. In 2026, the new era is one of geopolitical fragmentation and technological hyperacceleration. It is a world where you have to be a global citizen and a local survivalist at the same time. You have to believe in the future of AI, while holding enough silver to survive its failure. The warm insight for today is that true intelligence in this era isn't about having the fastest computer or the most complex algorithm. It's about having the most resilient spirit. The storm is here. The Iran war is real. The AI disruption is total. But as history shows, every time the global economy fractures, it creates the space for a new, stronger foundation to be built. Your job is not to fear the fracture, but to be the one who knows how to navigate the pieces. Don't chase the meme stocks. Don't listen to the hysterics on social media. Follow the data, trust the historical parallels, and stick to the discipline of the Titans playbook.